Contract Engineer Interview Questions and Answers, Part 2. Making a good impression during an interview can be crucial for securing the next position in your career. Being prepared to answer a wide variety of interview questions can show potential employers that you're competent, calm, and eager to learn about their company. Here is a list of top contract administrator interview questions with sample answers to help you. Question: have you ever spotted an error on a contract that a company has been using for a while? What did you do about it? Answer: while working for my previous employer, I noticed that a contract they sent to a client had a typo on how much the client should be paying the company. However, the client hadn't noticed and was currently paying a lot more than the contract said, because that was what he and the company verbally agreed on. I quickly mentioned this to the company, and they contacted the client right away and sent over new documents. The client was resilient at first, but agreed to sign the updated contract after the company offered a discount on the originally agreed upon price. Overall, the company lost a little money, but not nearly as much as they could have lost if I hadn't found the error. Question: tell me about the time you struggled to relay important contractual information to a colleague. Answer: we once had a contract with a client that our company could have breached in several ways if we weren't careful about it. When the contract was first created, I had to have a lengthy conversation with multiple managers and colleagues on how they could avoid breaching the contract and forcing the company to pay extra fees or fines. Some of my contract jargon was a little difficult for them to understand, but I took the time to go over anything they didn't comprehend and answer their question. In the end, it helped everyone understand the contract a little better and ensured we didn't make any costly mistakes. Question: have you ever found yourself in a negotiation stalemate? How did you respond? Answer: while working for my previous employer, we had a client who wanted a certain price for our services, but the company wasn't willing to lower the price any further. I first had a private conversation with the company to see what they'd be willing to accept, but they informed me that the price was already lower than most companies in the area were offering. So, I then had a meeting with the client where I informed them of the same thing and made them a deal. If they could find a lower price than the one we were currently offering, we'd match it, but if they couldn't, they should reconsider our final pricing offer. Eventually, they agreed to our terms. Question: have you ever made a mistake on a document that negatively affected a company? Answer: when I first started as a contract administrator, I had written a clause into a contract during negotiations that allowed the client to cancel our services at any time. Eventually, that clause was negotiated out of the contract by our company, but I forgot to eliminate it before it was signed by both parties. When I discovered the mistake, I very quickly brought it to my employers, apologizing profusely. Luckily, the client was very understanding and signed a new contract with the amended clause, and everything turned out okay. But I have definitely learned how to organize contract drafts more efficiently and update them regularly. Question: how do you approach enforcing contract terms? Answer: I find that a lot of contract violations come from misunderstandings. So my first response when I hear about a potential violation is to reach out and make sure they know about the terms of the contract. Usually, they respond by sending payment or changing their behavior quickly, but if they don't, I send a reminder email. In that email, I try to simply explain the contract terms, the consequences for contract violation, and a solution, whether it's a contract revision or a different idea. Question. How do you stay organized and manage both digital and physical records? Answer. My routine helps me stay organized. Each time I have new information about a contract, I add it to the digital filing information for that vendor or customer, and I track all filing dates on a calendar to make sure that I don't miss deadlines. Since I do this with everything that comes across my desk, I know where to find records when I need them. Question. How do you make progress when a negotiation seems stalled? Answer. In my experience, negotiations slow down when people get tired, or when none of the usual solutions are working for everyone. My approach is to ask for a quick break so that everyone can relax. During the break, I think about what's related to the points of conflict, and try to come up with a solution or new terms that get to the root causes of the problem. Question. How do you make sure that all of your contracts are in compliance with laws and our organization's guidelines? Answer. To me, knowing about all regulations is the most important step to make sure contracts comply with everything they need to. I make it a habit to regularly review any laws or guidelines, just in case I have forgotten any details. When I start a new position, I take a while to really make sure I understand the organization's internal rules, and I ask lots of questions as I begin to create contracts so that I can interpret those rules consistently. Question. What skills do you have that would translate into this position? Answer. My last job was administrative work at a legal firm, so I understand how important accurate filing and proofreading are. I also helped prepare legal documents in that position, so I have some expertise on making sure that documents are up to normal standards, while every detail is customized for that specific situation. Question. Our contract manager position works closely with internal and external legal departments. How do you work with other teams? Answer. It's important to me to build solid professional relationships with others, so when I start a new position, I like to get to know those I'll be working with on my own team and in other departments. When I know the roles of everyone in the group, it's easier for me to bring question to the right people. Smooth communication is also really helpful, so I make sure to ask questions sooner rather than later and make sure all projects and files I'm working on are available to everyone else who needs them. Question. Have you ever spotted an error on a contract that a company has been using for a while? If you like this video, kindly subscribe to our channel to get a notification for the next videos.